From the Opupco Studios in Oklahoma City, this is a Hudiburg Fantasy Football Update with Mike Baldwin. I'm Jenny Carlson. We're brought to you by Hudiburg.com. You can go there and buy your next new car during all these NFL games. All right, Mike, we've got a variety of topics to cover, but let's start with they dropped who?
The weird thing about fantasy football, sometimes people panic and say, I need this hot wide receiver, I need a quarterback, somebody's on a bye week, and they'll end up dropping somebody. You have to watch the waiver wire every week. Somebody in one of our leagues dropped Ryan Matthews. Guess what? He ran for over 100 yards Monday night. That's not the kind of guy you drop, but every once in a while, owners will drop somebody. They're on the waiver wire the very next week. The owners that are really tuned in, they go out there and say, wow, I can't believe he's on the waiver wire, and it's either first come, first serve, or an auction process. However you get them, be sure to watch every week because they may have dropped somebody that you could really use.
Okay, something else you could watch is somebody to jump the gun on. You've got a couple guys that you might want to pick up that are hurt right now.
Well, we said Justin Blackmon and Josh Gordon back when they were suspended, right? Both of those have turned out really well. Well, there's a couple veterans that are hurt, especially one, Percy Harvin for the Seahawks. They said that may be out most of the season, a lot of the season. He's starting to hear positive reports. He may be back in a week or two. If he's back, Russell Wilson really needs him as a weapon. If you get him a week or two in advance, maybe even playoffs. We haven't got to that point in fantasy football yet. But about week 13, guess what? If Percy Harvin's healthy by then and you got him on your roster, all of a sudden that playoff matchup looks better. You got to have an available spot. Another guy's Nate Burleson, the guy, remember we filmed one week, he hurt his arm in the car on the way to practice. He's starting to finally come around because Ryan Broyles has done some, but not as much as Nate. So those are a couple guys that are hurt. Maybe a week or two away, but if you grab them now, by the time they're healthy, you got them, they don't.
Maybe Burleson has a driver now. He'll stay healthy. I don't know. What about defenses? If you need a defense, are there some defenses out there to look at?
Well, we recommended Kansas City all along, so surely they're off the board by now. But there are some decent defenses to fill in for a couple weeks, or they may even beat out your top defense that's underperformed. You got Indianapolis, who had a good showing again on Monday night. They're getting a lot of sacks and turnovers and not allowing many points. The Jets, Dolphins, and Panthers are all three quality defenses. If any of those are available, make sure you get a defense. Other people are playing their defense on a bye week, and even though that's not a monster position like quarterback, a zero still hurts. Go out and find one. There's some decent defenses to fill in on the bye week.
Here's a guy that probably won't get you a zero, and he's now on everyone's list. Who is it?
Brandon Jacobs. Who would have thought it? The Giants can't run. Wilson lose a little faith in him. He fumbles too much. Guess what? Now Brandon Jacobs shows up out of nowhere on a Thursday night game last week, has a monster game. I don't know what he'll do going forward just because coming off the street and having that kind of game is just unbelievable, but that kind of deal is just not available this time of season in fantasy football. I'm sure he's on everybody's list this week because you really need running backs and there's not a lot on the waiver wire.
All right, lastly, fantasy football owners tend to overreact occasionally, but who should they definitely not overreact on?
There's a Detroit Lion tight end. It's not Brandon Pettigrew. His name is Joseph Fayari. I think I got that name right. He scored 2 touchdowns last week. He had a couple earlier. That's about the only time he's getting the ball, goal line situations. If you pick him up and start him, a lot of times he'll have 0 catches, 0 yards, and he doesn't get the touchdown. Don't overreact. There's better tight ends out there than him. Just because he's gotten in the end zone a couple times, don't overreact and go get him.
All right, thanks, Mike. Sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.